Warning, this radio program has been rated R for ridiculous. All listeners must be accompanied by their spirit guides.
You're listening to Haunted Voices Radio.
Welcome to Haunted Voices Radio. Haunted Voices Radio brings you education, comedy, and information from top instructors, authors, and performers in the field of the paranormal. Join Todd and Phil each week to discover tricks of the trade that will help you to develop your craft and prosper as a paranormal investigator. It has never been easier to listen and interact from the privacy of your own home. This is truly a program you won't find anywhere else. Now, here are the hosts of Haunted Voices Radio, Todd Bates and Phil Roell.
From the land beyond, the world past hope and fear.
And a good evening, one and all. Welcome, Haunted Voices Radio Live, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Happy Halloween to each and every one of you out there. My goodness. Do we have an amazing show planned here for you? Special guest, 2-hour special here for you on this awesome Halloween with our guest Keith Linder. Now we're going to be discussing poltergeists or demons. Both. You decide. And to do so, you need to stay tuned and be in the chat room. You can join us live in there at hauntedvoices.com or WGOGDB.com. You can log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. Just go ahead and get in there because we're going to be posting some videos in there later on. You're definitely going to want to see those. And also, second hour, we're going to be playing some actual EVP captures that Keith has provided us here. So you guys are out and about doing your trick-or-treating. Just stop the tricks, put the treats away. You're going to love this. This is a perfect addition here on the Halloween night. Goodness. How you doing, Phil?
Oh, okay.
You're just doing okay? It's Halloween, Phil.
Well, yeah. I always get a little weird on Halloween because that's when I go to bed and the faces come up over the side of the bed at me and that kind of stuff. You know.
Did you do anything creepy today at all? No?
No, nothing that I can think of. I've been trying to behave myself because, you know me, I get the night terrors and things.
Yeah, and you wet the bed.
That's when the little creatures come up over the side of the bed at me and everything. So I've been watching Leave It to Beaver and Andy Griffith's show all day to try to get all that weirdness out of me.
Okay, well those are horror flicks. Those are pretty good. Yeah, those aren't bad.
I know I'm going to be talking creepy stuff tonight, so
yeah,
you know, my wife will be pounding on me and screaming at me, shut up, because I'll be kicking and screaming in the bed because the little green face guy with the big head will be staring over the side of the bed at me.
Well, yeah, just take your meds. Take your meds and you'll be all set.
Say I ran out of them.
Oh. Well, take somebody else's meds. You know, you can do that as well. Ask your neighbors if they have anything that'll calm you down. It's Halloween night. There's a lot of great things going on out there. You guys are having a good time. And, of course, we do want to take a little brief moment here. That New York incident, I know a lot of you have heard about that. Of course, we keep them in our prayers, definitely out there. Crazy people out there. I guess they rented a truck from Home Depot and plowed through some. Oh my goodness, just eight killed. It's awful. This world's going to hell in a handbasket. But I know you guys are hearing a lot about all that. We're not trying to bring it down. We just do want to express our condolences to those that lost. So. With that being said, we do have an amazing show here playing for you. Keith Linder is going to be here the whole 2 hours. We're going to be hearing his story behind all of this, this massive haunting that he underwent at his home. And he's going to be educating you on some things. Of course, you're going to learn some new information. Some of you may be familiar with the haunting. Those that aren't, don't worry. You will be familiar with it by the end of the show. And if you do miss it, of course, everything's being archived, and you'll be able to catch that a little while after the program. We usually get that uploaded for you. You'll be able to tune in there as well. So it's just a lot going on here on this Halloween night. And we definitely want to welcome all you folks. I know you guys are settling down. You're putting the kids to bed. If they do, they're probably all wired on candy by now, so they may be up for a little while. It's okay. Let the kids listen. It's a good family show. Nothing here is going to be anything offensive to them. But what we want to do is just take a moment, of course, to introduce our guest tonight, Mr. Keith Linder. Now, this is something that, like I said, this haunting, some of you folks may be familiar with it. Others may not know. I mean, and what we're trying to do, what we're going to see if we can decide tonight, was this a poltergeist? Was this a demon? There's so many different things that we're going to be covering with Keith. But, Keith is he's an IT professional from Texas, and he and his girlfriend began experiencing paranormal events after moving into a suburb home outside Seattle, Washington. Now, this was back in May of 2012. Now, things began to happen within hours of moving in. Now, what they heard there was things like a kid cough, objects disappearing, objects appearing that neither of them owned, electrical issues, there were thuds, and finally a flying plant. Now, that's creepy right there. Now, the activity would eventually escalate, but Keith he was pushed down the stairs. There were posters and Bibles catching fire. And the ultimate horror of all of it, there were wall writings like 666 and Die KL. And an upside-down man, Native American drawing, which we're going to learn about that tonight, what all this is. Now, several teams have visited the house, including the popular paranormal show Ghost Adventures, UK's parapsychologist Steve Mara, and his chief researcher Don Phillips. Of course, the lovely and beautiful Nikki Novell was there, and Carissa Fleck. Now, getting help was difficult as, of course, getting answers. Some answers finally did come. Regrettably, I guess, they came 4 years later. But questions still remain. Is this a demon or a poltergeist or both? And that's what we want you guys to definitely decide tonight. So welcome to the show, Keith Linder. Welcome.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. Todd and Phil, good to be here.
This is a crazy, crazy tale here, Keith, and we're going to get into this in great detail, but I've got to ask first and foremost, before any of this happened, did you even believe in the paranormal existence, or were you a skeptic?
I always put my belief about 50-50. I was never one to go out and look at the paranormal or look for it. Interesting enough, around this time every year, everybody likes a good scare this time of year. So I just invested in a scary movie during Halloween, but never to the degree of this. If a friend of mine or family member told me they saw something, I'm more inclined to believe them, because who am I to disbelieve them? But yeah, I always kept it as to each his own. And yeah, you don't really kind of prepare yourself for something like this entering into your life. It's kind of weird.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is way out there. And a lot of people have had hauntings in their homes and businesses even, Keith. And poltergeist activity, demonic activity, there's very rare cases where it gets this extensive, this mean or threatening, if you will. This is a very malevolent haunting that you went through. And let's just jump into it here. When did this start? What happened?
Yeah, well, you hit it on the nail on the coffin when you said me and my girlfriend moved into a home early May 2012. It's springtime, trees are green, and so we move into a home outside of Seattle, and we get the keys to the house. We get the tour. The landlord gives you the tour. You sign the papers. He hands you the garage door opener, and then an hour later he leaves. Mm-hmm. So me and my girlfriend is sitting in the living room. We're kind of getting a lay of the land, trying to say, well, this is going here, this is going there. This is my man cave. This is your closet. And just out of the blue, while we're conversating, we hear a kid cough. And this is a pretty big house. This is a 2-story house, 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, or 2.5 bath. And we're downstairs. And it's virtually empty, so things kind of echo. And we hear a kid cough, and we both stop at the same time and look at each other, and we both said it at the same time. Was that a kid cough? Because that's how real it was. That's how distinct it was. It didn't sound like it was coming from outside, but maybe. We kind of raised our eyebrows, but we didn't get up and go looking for the kid call because the house is empty. It's only us there.
Yeah, why look?
Exactly, and we weren't thinking nowhere were we thinking ghost at that time. We just thought, hey, that's kind of weird. Whatever sound we just heard sounds exactly like a kid cough, and we wrote it off. You just shrug it off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, we're moving in, getting situated, and all of a sudden you just find yourself looking for items that you could have sworn you moved from your old house to your new house successfully. Silverware started disappearing. My extra set of car keys were gone. And you just find yourself looking for small items, trinkets, shoes, and whatnot throughout the house. And you're still not ready to, you can't make up anything as far as what is this could be because it's just items missing. But probably about week 4, then you start getting items appearing that neither of you own. And it's just me and my girlfriend in this house. We have no kids, no children.
Uh-huh.
All of a sudden we start getting the appearance of kid toys. And the kid toys are appearing like on the staircase, coffee table, kitchen counter, kitchen table. You come down in the morning after sleeping, you get ready to go to work, grab your keys, make some coffee right before you head out the door, and there's this little Hot Wheels toy sitting out in the open on the kitchen table. And you're like, wait a minute.
What in the world?
Yeah, she didn't walk that in when she moved in. I didn't walk that in. And this is about the 3rd or 4th or 5th time you're seeing kid toys. And it's really weird when you see them on the staircase. You got to walk up and down the stairs, and there are these kids. It's almost like they're putting them within your view, if you will. Your
line of sight, yeah.
Yeah, so you can purposely see them. And once again, we pick them up, and we're like, at first we thought we were being pranked. We're like, okay, this is weird. We must be getting pranked or something. This must be a weird way to welcome us even into the neighborhood or something. Well, I guess the cat was finally out of the bag when me and my girlfriend watching TV one night, and we're both sitting side by side on the couch. We're in the den, and she has this 4-foot tall plant that sits by the entertainment center. And halfway through the night, it just levitates off the ground. It doesn't vibrate, it doesn't move an inch. This thing actually rolls off the ground vertically, a few inches vertically. Does a 360-degree spin, and then just keels over. Okay? And she's sitting next to me. I'm sitting next to her, so it's not one of these things of me going back to her saying, hey, I saw a plant levitate. We both saw it at the same time.
Okay.
And when we both get up sort of at the same time and go look at the plant, because now we're thinking, wow, that's a really neat trick. Somebody's got some strings, a remote control. We kind of thought we was on, candy camera or being punked or something. So we're looking for the wires. We're looking for the mechanic device, the remote control. And I'm starting to get a little bit worried because I'm not finding these things. I really wanted to find a fishing line or a wire or something. So then I can say, ha, got it, get it, okay.
Would have helped your sanity.
It. Yeah. And we don't find none of that. So then I think that was the sort of like the phase 1 gloves coming off, because from that point on, you wake up and all your kitchen cabinet doors are open. You wake up to loud bangs that you can't pinpoint in the house. These bangs are interrupting your sleep, your dinner, your TV watching. I could be in my office and my girlfriend could be downstairs, and the lights go off and on in the hallway, in my office, downstairs. So now we're calling each other saying, hey, there's something weird going on in the kitchen, or hey, there's something weird going on in my office. Come investigate with me. And then, yeah, it just really started ratcheting up from that point on with the loud bangs. And like I said, the whole summer or the early summer was a consistence of objects thrown, loud bangs, and the objects missing and other objects reappearing.
And, these are things.
When was the point?
Go ahead.
I'm wondering, when was the point where something happened and you thought, okay, we're in a haunted house, or
I'm going to get the hell out of here.
Well, there's different phases of that. When we saw the plant levitate, and then we reverted back in our mind to the kid cough and to the children's toys. So we then thought, okay, we have a child spirit living with us. We're thinking we got a ghost. It's a child, and I started Googling on the internet. She started Googling, and it started telling you, well, you got to talk to these ghosts. It could be lost. It could be confused. But we're not thinking malevolent. Nowhere are we thinking, scary, whatever, because we're thinking, okay, plant gets knocked over in these kid toys. So maybe this is a kid ghost, and that's as far as it's going to go.
Right.
Probably when I started entertaining the thought that I don't think these things or this thing is friendly is when it started slamming our doors at night while we were sleeping. And I mean our bedroom doors. I mean, we're having pillow talk, trying to talk about the day we just had, and all of a sudden the bedroom door slammed shut. We started to smudge and sage the house as we were advised. And sometimes there would be banging noises after we smudged or while we're smudging, banging noises. So then we realized, okay, this is more than a kid ghost, or if it's still a kid ghost, it's an angry kid ghost. Let's try to get, some people in here. Let's try to bless the house. And we did. We had the house blessed probably within 2 months to 3 months of living in the home. We're nowhere near the point of, hey, let's just pack up our bags and go. Mm-hmm. Because like you mentioned earlier, I'm an IT professional. I've been doing IT for about 30 years, and I'm in the problem-solving aspect of IT, the analytical portion of IT.
That is your nature.
So it was more of a interest, more of a problem-solving. What's the root cause here? I didn't know what a poltergeist was or is. I heard about demons in Sunday school when I was knee-high.
Sure.
Okay, and I saw the movie Exorcist back in the 70s. So I'm not seeing stuff coming from the wall. I'm not seeing pea soup come out the sink or whatever. As long as I don't see those things, I think we're on firm ground.
Well, what it sounds like with the poltergeist activity, that is exactly what it sounds like. But the twist to the poltergeist activity is normally, researching this field for several years, normally something like that is caused by an adolescent child. Normally that's what's brought on. There are hormones, things like that. But this seems like a rare case. Now, this is something, you're hearing the thuds, the banging, things are being lifted up and literally spun, and the objects, all of these key factors, these triggers that you're talking about, definitely scream poltergeist activity. But there's things, of course, that we're going to get into after the break here, of course, in more detail. It gets darker. These things, it definitely, the haunting becomes darker, it becomes more threatening. Poltergeist, the cabinets, the drawers, all of this is common in a poltergeist haunting. And what's strange, Keith, is there's no adolescent child to power it, which usually, anywhere between 85-90% of cases they do have a child in the pubescent stage. And that's kind of what causes, sparks that kind of activity. So this is where it's wild. Is this tied to the land? Is it something you brought with you? Has it always been there? There's so many things that we're going to try and pick apart and hopefully solve some of these. What do you think, Phil?
Well, I'm just thinking at this point, you weren't thinking anything too threatening. You were just thinking poltergeist, or you've just got some active spirit that's enjoying banging things, and you weren't really feeling that threatened at this point?
Yeah, I felt more like we were just being harassed or more of the spirit throwing a tantrum. Because, like you said, it's going to get darker, and it doesn't really get personal until about 2014. But everything is happening around us instead of to us. By the time 2014 rolls around, things are happening to us. But once again, I wasn't thinking malevolent. I wasn't thinking nowhere near thinking demonic. I'm just really troubleshooting by the information that I find on the internet. House blessed, smudge when you feel an uneasiness, and just try to talk to whatever it is and see if you can walk it into the light.
Yeah.
And so these are the advice we're following them through, and other people are coming in trying to help at that early stage as well. But then, as quickly or weird as it started, it stops.
It went into a remission. We're going to hold that thought one moment, Keith. We're going to skip off here to a quick break. When we come back, more about this haunting. Let us know in chat what you think so far. Do you think this is a poltergeist, or do you think this is some kind of demonic activity? We're going to actually dissect, and this haunting gets darker. We're going to talk about that when we come back. Haunted Voices Radio Live, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these important announcements. Trust me, it's worth the wait. Mark your calendar for Saturday, November 18th. Join Emerald Coast Paranormal Concepts founders Tracy and Susan Todd at the Haunted Russ House. Upon your arrival, the team will provide 101 equipment training, cleansing tips, and a short meditation. And then you are released to roam the Haunted Russ House on your own. This event is for the serious investigator. No thrill seekers wanted here, and runs from 6 p.m. to midnight. Todd Bates and Ariel Grace of WGOG Digital Broadcasting will attend the event and not only conduct a live radio special, but also participate in the investigation. So drive, fly, or walk to the Russ House Saturday, November 18th, 6 p.m. to midnight for the investigation of a lifetime. You control the investigation, or do you? Tickets can be purchased through Emerald Coast Paranormal Concepts or by clicking the banner provided at WGOGDB.com. Nothing feels better than a good cleanse to wash away the day. If you think that refreshes you, then experience the ultimate cleanse with Soaps by Susan. Cleansing Spiritually LLC uses only pharmaceutical-grade essential oils, all-natural shea butter, coconut oils, and vitamin E, and tailored toward the ultimate cleanse. Susan uses a skin-safe fragrance with an aroma that brings a smile to your face and takes you to that happy place within. Each bar is handcrafted and custom to order, so it not only cleanses the soul, but also matches your room's decor. Cleansing Spiritually soap makes great gifts, or you can just indulge yourself for a spiritual cleansing you'll never forget. You want some now, don't you? We thought so. Contact Susan Todd to place your custom order at facebook.com/spiritually. Don't settle for clean. Get spiritually clean at facebook.com/spiritually. Target the right audience for your business by advertising on WGOG DB. We can produce and voice your ad to air on all network programs, starting at $30 per month. Custom coverage is also available by contacting us on the website. Don't wait a second longer. Secure your ad spot today and get noticed. Visit WGOGDB.com for details. WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Let's talk.
mouth and try to drill down as to why it stopped. We just went back to living our regular, normal lives, and went through 2012 with flying colors. I mean, flying colors. The only thing we have is a story to tell. January 2nd, though, of 2014, I had a weird fall. I mean, it was a bad fall. I was leaving my office, coming back downstairs for a glass of water refill, and I got to that halfway landing on the stairway and just bit the dust, and I tore my right patella tendon, and I was laid up for about 2 months due to that. It required surgery to reattach my kneecap, and now I'm home, sort of confined to the upstairs because my girlfriend is at work every day, and now I'm upstairs recuperating.
Right.
And I'm hearing noises in the house that are not house noises. I mean, I'm in my bed watching TV. I'm sort of on pain meds. And I could swear when I go to sleep, or right when I'm about to go to sleep, I hear the kitchen cabinet doors or somebody rummaging through the kitchen. So my eyes dot open, but I'm handicapped, so I can't go investigate. I scream out, "Tina," because I think maybe she came home early and didn't announce herself, but I get no answer, and of course she doesn't come home till 4 or 5 hours later. So this goes on for a while. This noise I'm hearing while I'm recuperating, till finally about early mid-March. I think it was a Sunday. We were sleeping, me and my girlfriend. It's about 1 or 2 a.m. and we have this giant armoire in our hallway, or we did, and this thing weighs over 300 pounds, and it took I'm a big guy, I'm 6'5", 250 pounds. It took me and 2 other guys to move it upstairs. So we're sleeping, and all of a sudden we are awaking to a loud crash. And I mean, you dart out of bed because something's just crashed, and you know it's not good by the sound of it, but you don't know what. I thought a car came through our living room or a plane through the ceiling, but so we run into the hallway, and the armoire's on the other side of the hallway. And it's put a new hole in the wall.
Jeez.
And I look at her, and she look at me, and I mean, she just started bawling right there, because we immediately knew what that was. We've seen similar things like that in 2012, but nothing of that magnitude. And when that happened that Sunday, every day for about 4 to 5 months, there's darker activity. I mean, it really goes downhill from there.
So with this, it literally took this armoire that's very, very, very heavy and launched it, made a hole in. I mean, it's causing damage, and it's definitely becoming, threatening. You guys are obviously at this point becoming frightened. This is just a wicked haunting, and I've never heard of a poltergeist doing that much damage, which tells me something's really upset. What do you think, Phil?
Well, that's what I was wondering. At that point, were you still thinking that it was just a poltergeist? You just had some angry spirit that was just trying to harass you and make you miserable, or when did you
I thought we had a
point?
stubborn. I thought we had a stubborn spirit because, we blessed the house, we sage, and it seemed like it would do things to counteract what we do. At that stage, when it's throwing an object that big, I'm in awe. I mean, I've never lived this. I've never seen this. I couldn't move that armoire by myself across the hallway. It would take me a considerable amount of time. I would probably tear my rug doing it. And this thing tossed it like it was nothing. So now we get to the, we're calling people, we're calling churches now. We're calling, and I don't mean the church we've called before. We're calling the Catholic Church in Seattle. We're calling the Bothell Parish, because now we think we got something mean, and now it needs to be brought to the attention of those who might be familiar or have a history of dealing with something like this, because we've sort of run out of options when we had the house blessed and things like that. But this needs to be on somebody's radar. And, we instinctively thought the Catholic Church would be the good people to call.
Sure.
Because something throwing something that big. And mind you, keep in mind, just to rewind here, the first Bible that caught fire first went missing in 2012. It took that in 2012. And a few weeks after the armoire got thrown was when the first Bible reappeared. So the Bible was gone for a year and a half. And a week or two after the armoire got thrown, similar night, we're sleeping, and the fire alarm goes off. And that night we slept with our door closed because this is where we're having activity constantly. And we open up our double doors, and there on the floor is the missing Bible. I didn't know it was missing until I put the fire out, because I opened up my door. This is about 1:30, quarter till 2 a.m. There's a book on fire in my hallway. I mean, flames are dancing on it, lighting up the hallway, 2-something in the morning. I did what I thought instinctively to do. I shut it with my foot. That did extinguish the flames. And that's when I knew that's the Bible that it took in 2012. So now I'm calling churches, the Catholic churches, updating them daily. Like, hey, we just had Bibles burnt last night. Can you help us? So, and people start, hot potato bounce around. Hey, call this department, call this department.
Oh, sure, the runaround.
Yeah, leave a voicemail here. Somebody get in contact with you. Are you sure it was a Bible? And, we're going to transfer you to our psychiatric department. And, so you're getting all that. But the spirit doesn't, nowhere does the spirit stop and slow down, right?
Right.
I mean, they're not going to do that. So, yeah, and that's, it's just that armoire. That was a wake-up call in the sense of just the force of that.
You had
and that's the thing with the Catholic Church too. They're not going to come out and do anything until they send somebody out to investigate, and then they have to go back to their superiors and tell them what they found, and then the superiors have to decide that, okay, maybe we should do something. So you had a little bit of a battle there, probably, right? Getting the Catholic Church to even do anything.
Yeah, for about a year we had a battle with them, and we did get the local parish to come to the house after the second fire incident, which once again happened a few weeks after the first fire incident. But right now we're just playing phone tag. And the second fire incident, my girlfriend leaves for work. I'm taking a shower, and the fire alarm goes on in the house while I'm taking a shower. I step out. I realize I'm in the house by myself. I know something's going down. I just don't know what that something is.
Right.
I know it's not going to be good, but it's a fire. I need to investigate it right away. And I run into the hallway, and I want you guys to understand what I see when I run into the hallway.
Okay.
Because I'm now running through my bedroom door. Something is running from my office past me. I can't see it, but it has a density it's passing me at so much speed. I can feel the whoosh, if you will.
So it's some kind of mass.
Some kind of mass. Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect one. Yeah.
But it wasn't, you couldn't see it.
You couldn't see it.
Like felt it.
You felt it. You ever changed a flat tire on the highway and you hear the cars pass by you while you're changing your flat? You feel
absolutely
the mass. Imagine that mass and imagine that speed. And that's what went past me. You hear the steps go, and the front door opens because it's a landing. Right, when I step out of my bedroom, I'm on the hallway landing upstairs. I can see clearly downstairs to my front door. The front door opens wide and slams shut.
Damn.
And this is the same time a fire alarm is going off. Smoke is filling up in the hallway. Now the brain takes over and thinks instinctively, I have an intruder in the house. And I don't dart to the fire, I dart to the front door.
Right. You want to apprehend. Absolutely.
I want to apprehend. I want to identify. I want to catch the person in the act. Even if I just get their back. If I just see their back running down the street, that's something I can tell the police. I open the front door. I step onto my patio and see nobody in the neighborhood whatsoever. And I go back into the house, and I realize the fire alarm is still blazing. I run up to my office, and there I see in the office my poster on fire. And let me tell you, it's my Final Fantasy sci-fi poster, and I douse it with my towel and then call 911, the fire department, because when I douse the fire, the alarms are still sounding off.
Sure.
I thought I had another fire in the house that I didn't know about, but what turned out to be, and this is what the fire department told me, was, no, your smoke was still billowing, and the alarms sometimes kick off after a while, but it's good that you called us. So they go upstairs and investigate the fire. And when they investigate the fire, they can't find any root cause. Mm-hmm. All they see is a poster incinerated. And they investigate the fuse box in the garage. And then they're like, well, we don't know what caused your fire. It looked like you dodged a bullet. And they just chalk it up as, hey, whatever. But me and my girlfriend knew, because all this happened within 5 minutes. I called her while the fire department were on their way, and she made a U-turn. She had just got to the highway on her way to work. So she comes back home, sees me shaking like a leaf, house filled with smoke. And that's when we were mad enough to where we drove down to the local parish, and we sat in the office for 4 hours until the priest saw us, because at that time we had left so many voicemails and emails to where when the fire department left, we're at our wits' end. We just had a second fire. I couldn't get out of the house, and we're tired of voicemails and no's and, things of that nature. So let's just go down there and sit in his office. So we sat in the receptionist's office, and at that time, they saw us 4 hours later, and then they started coming to the house, blessing, and that's when it started feeling like a concerted effort of, like you said, we got to investigate, we got to document, research, I got to take it back to my higher-ups, we got to analyze. In the meantime, you guys need to do this. We're going to leave you guys some homework assignments. We're going to put some St. Benedict prayers around. We're going to put some more smudging. Here's some prayers. We're going to do some recitals. But call us when you have activity, and call us when you have trouble. And that's what we did.
Yeah, call us when your house is completely engulfed. Yeah, trust me, I've worked with them before, and it's a hurry up and wait situation. But with this, it's definitely turned from a poltergeist situation to something darker. I mean, I've never heard of anything catching on fire during a poltergeist haunting. Have you, Phil? I mean, this is something that, you have this type of activity, and it seems to be harmful. It's I don't know if it's wanting to harm you, Keith, kill you, what it's wanting to do, but something is really ticked off in this home. Now, at this point, you've contacted, the diocese and tried to get some help, and they're giving you the hurry up and wait scenario. What about investigators? At this point, were you ready to call in a team of paranormal researchers?
Yeah, we had a few teams come in at the early stage of 2014. One of the first teams that came in saw an enormous amount of activity with their own naked eyes. Jennifer of No Bull Paranormal out of Snohomish, Washington. Her sage stick lit by itself. They heard the loud banging. They captured mist coming up off the floor on their cameras. I don't know what that means, but it was very something significant in their eyes, because they was like, wow, mist is coming up from the floor.
Well, to explain what that is to you, Keith, and to the audience, an ectomist, there's a theory. Now, these are all theories in the paranormal field, folks. There's no expert, but a mist or ectomist, it's believed to be the second stage of a manifestation. You may have the spiritual orb of light, then it may switch to a mist type substance like what Keith witnessed, and then that turns into a full-bodied apparition. So just kind of, to throw that in there.
Oh, well, that just explains it, because you're right. The apparition sightings began soon after. They caught the mist on their equipment that they set up in the hallway. The mist appeared right outside my office doorway, and that's where I saw the gray lady for the first time, who turned off my light and took off running.
Ooh.
But yeah,
I read about that. Yeah,
is when the activity. I use the word escalate because we can always tell when we were entering into a new phase based on by the phenomena. A new phenomena gets introduced while at the same time the other phenomena just get repeated. So now let's think, we had a series of fires, loud bangs, mist. What's the next phenomena that can come up? Oh, let's start right on his wall. In addition to the loud bangs, the mist, the apparitions. So now you got, wall writings, and you come home and your furniture, coffee table, chairs, cabinets are all upside down, torn asunder. But yeah, you can always sort of see a pivot. It's a negative pivot, but it's still a pivot.
Well, that was another one that was weird to me because I read about, the 666 on the walls in your office and the little upside down man. And
we're touching on all that second hour.
And it said that they said, get this right, bone black, that it was written in like a charred bone.
Yeah, so keep in mind, you go through like 4 or 5 months of wall writings, and one of the often questions I get from people familiar with the case is, hey, what's that stuff made out of? What's it, because normally documented in previous poltergeist cases, there are cases where the poltergeist writes with crayon, pencil, marker, or whatever. Mm-hmm. This is something new. The investigators are coming in. And most people come in thinking, it's spray paint, it's a hoax. Okay, we're going to be able to solve this right away. But once they see it, rub their fingernail across it, look at it like, well, okay, this is okay. Let's back up here. We don't know what this is. So now it's time to analyze what the markings are made out of. And it took us 1.5 years to find out because these tests are really expensive. I mean, it's a couple of grand to conduct these types of tests. So when the UK guys did arrive, one of the things I had that I was sort of shocked that no other teammate yet did, including Ghost Adventures when they were in the house, was, hey, by all means, take as much material off that wall as you want. If you got to take it to Quantico, I don't care. Analyze it. It's for your community, not mine. Maybe this will advance your paranormal research, but no other team wanted to touch it until the UK guys arrived. And yeah, so we analyzed it, and it came back, and I didn't know what bone black was when I took it to the Seattle Art Museum and contacted the Los Angeles Art Museum and contacted the Chicago Art Museum. We took them this analysis and told us what the analysis was made of. And I'm just going off the top of my head because I don't have the notes, but it's made out of 96% or more phosphate calcium. And there's another ingredient in there. And as soon as we started spraying out those makeups, the first word that people said, oh, that's bone black. And I'm like, what's bone black? And they're like, wow, that hasn't been used for years. I mean, there's only one manufacturer of bone black, I think, in the world. And I'm like, huh? And I'm like, well, I got a wall all with this stuff written all over it. And they're like, well, I mean, it's sold in small quantities, and there's only one store in the world that makes it. And most painters stopped using it way back when. But the thing about bone black that was really interesting, once again, is the name. Because I'm like, well, why do you call it bone black? And that's when they said, oh, well, it's the phosphate. And I'm like, what do you mean the phosphate and the calcium? Oh, it's made out of dead cow bones. It's made out of cremated, incinerated cow bones or bison bones.
And hold that thought one moment, Keith. We're going to skip off here. More of this bone black. What is it? There's some images on what it's doing. We posted those there in chat. Go ahead and log in. HauntedVoices.com, WGOGDB.com. Haunted Voices Radio. We'll be right back. course, we didn't invent great sound. We perfected it. WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Let's talk.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has delivered a one-of-a-kind reading experience, covering everything from psychics, UFOs, paranormal investigations, and more. For more information, visit fatemag.com or call 1-800-728-2730. That's 1-800-728-2730. Fate magazine. True reports of the strange and unknown.
Get lost in the realm of thrilling mystery with the Mojo series by Chris Cedarstein. Follow 6 small-town teenagers who decide to make a ghost hunting documentary and become blindly thrown into a world of haunting chills they were not expecting in Lost Mojo. Or follow college student Scotty Brown, who is aggressively haunted by vivid nightmares and daytime apparitions. As he begins to search for answers, he puts himself and those closest to him face to face with pure evil. Can he defeat these malevolent beings with a small team of paranormal investigators? Find out in her second title, Mojo. The Mojo series is available on paperback or digital download on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and wherever books are sold. The Mojo series by Chris Cedarstein. Get your copies today if you've got the Mojo. Find your peace of mind and clarity every Sunday night on a Gang of Girls radio show. Host Ariel Grace provides tips, cleansing techniques, and interviews by renowned guests from around the world. Tune in live Sunday nights 8, 7 Central at agangofgirls.com. Don't you think you deserve some peace of mind in your life? Then find it at agangofgirls.com.
48 minutes past the hour, and of course, we are speaking with Keith Linder. We're talking about this really mysterious, really wicked haunting that he experienced in his home, him and his girlfriend. And we're revealing some of that evidence that was captured right there in the chat room, hauntedvoices.com and WGOGDB.com. If you want to take a look at those, there's some videos in there as well. And if you missed the first part of the show, I know a lot of you folks are just now tuning in, settling down from your Halloween extravaganzas out there. Happy Halloween to each and every one of you, and thank you for stopping by. We definitely love having you over here, and this is a 2-hour special with Keith, and we're discussing in detail this haunting that has been publicized all over the place. A lot of folks are aware of this haunting, some aren't, and you're definitely getting an earful tonight. So definitely welcome to that. So, dim the lights, grab a blankie. You're going to need it here in just a bit. Welcome back to the show, guys.
Oh, and real quick, for all the trick-or-treaters out there, at the end of the show, I will be putting up my address. I will be grateful if you send your baby Ruths to me.
Oh, jeez. Last year, Keith, he pushed them down and took their money. I mean, Phil's just really mean to trick-or-treaters. It's awful.
You're like, give me the baby Ruth.
Yeah, it's awful. Poor kids. He's just an angry, bitter old man.
Well, I'm not that bad. I mean, I try to be new and different. I mean, this Halloween we didn't give anything out, but last Halloween I gave out rocks.
Phil, you answer the door.
Rocks are underestimated, yeah.
Trying to be different.
You answer the door in your boxer shorts. That terrifies him enough in itself. I'm surprised you haven't been arrested yet, but it is what it is. Of course, we're talking about this.
Well, the big clown nose on the front scares him.
Now, this haunting, to kind of switch gears here, there's some things that this is getting so dark, it's getting so eerie that we do have to throw in definitely some of this comedy here, folks, because it is. This is a true event here that we're discussing, and it's traumatizing to anybody that's experienced it. But Keith has experienced it, and now things went dark. Things have caught fire in the home. He's got investigators out there. They're capturing these myths, which we discussed are transitions, the transition period, so many things that we've talked about, and now we've got into the detail of this bone black substance, this powdery black substance that Keith described was that they told him was from incinerated animals like cows or something. This is old school methods, Keith, going way centuries back. It's all they had to write with.
This is the bone black. Like I said, when I heard it, you Google it and you go to Wiki and you read what Wiki says and you realize this is not your everyday paint. It was used back in the days as a pictogram or calligraphy. This is when we started started thinking about the Native American angle again, because keep in mind the upside down man symbol was written in bone black. And the upside down symbol or the upside down man is a Native American pictogram symbol. It means a man has died or a man is about to die. Now, when I'm reading that man is about to die, I get kind of nervous.
You just may pee a little when you hear something like that.
Okay, what's this future tense thing going on? And once again, you go to the priest, you show the diocese, the parish, and everybody's like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, we're just going to document and keep us updated. And so, you really, but at the same time, you're trying to find the root cause. Is it the land? We found out, I guess, mid-2014 that previous tenants had similar activity. And how I found that out was kind of interesting. It was their mail was still coming to the house. So I just threw a Hail Mary one day and said, let me just see if I can find this person, because I have her mail in my hand. Let me just see if I can find her on Facebook, because everybody's on Facebook. And sure enough, I did. And I was real nervous about emailing, because I don't know how you tell a stranger that the house a stranger that your house is haunted. She don't know me from Adam, and I'm like, hey, my house is haunted. I got burning Bibles.
Somebody's calling the cops. Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna get Facebook to ban me. But so I emailed her. I sent her a friend request, and I'm like, let me just test the water. Some people accept friend requests out the blue. She did. And then I emailed her. I said, hey, my name is Keith Linder. I'm currently living in the house that you used to live in. Me and my girlfriend having some weird things. I didn't tell her what the weird things were. I just said, we're having some weird things. Mm-hmm. And I said, was the house weird when you guys were living in it? And she said, yes, it was. She didn't say yes right away. She typed back 3 winks in her chat to me. And then I was like, okay, what does 3 winks mean? So I typed her back, can you go into details what those were? And then she paused, and she's like, I'm not ready to talk about that yet, because me and my husband, we just got back together. This is 2014. They lived in the house 2009, 2010.
Okay.
And she's like, we just got back together, me and my husband, and I'm not ready to go into detail about that house. So I didn't want to pressure her. I didn't want her to disappear off the internet. So I said, well, if you should ever feel comfortable, just email me and let me know. She said, okay, let me think about it. She emails me 2 months later. That's how distraught it was for her and her family, because she emails me 2 minutes later. I had almost forgotten about her. And she said, hey, we just talked about it, and I just wanted to get back in touch with you. But that house is a living hell for us. I have 3 children, and that house destroyed our marriage. We woke up to cabinet doors opening, footsteps, pitter-patter. I got locked out of the house numerous times. I have kids. My youngest son got meningitis. Mm-hmm. The doctors didn't know what caused it. He got very sick. He's autistic, and he was having all these health problems, and he almost died in the house. He said, I tried to kill myself 4 times in the house. And my husband was a fisherman. We're up here in the Pacific Northwest. He's on an Alaska fishing boat 4 months out of the year. But for her and her children and their maid, it was a lot of activity to where they just moved to Yakima after the next cabinet door slamming in the middle of the night. She said, we just got out of there. We broke our lease and we was out of there. But that was sort of a bitter pill, or I guess a sort of a silver lining, in the sense of, okay, we now have a point of reference. It's not just us, but another family 4 or 5 years before we arrived had similar activity, and that was good information for the researchers and the investigators as well.
Wow. So
well, now the churches apparently didn't do much good. So you started going for paranormal groups to come in and and going back to the analytical part of me is because and I found this late. I did not know none of this while it was happening. I'm still learning every day. And when you research about poltergeist, there's two things that can happen when you bring in the church. Things can get worse, or things die down. For us, things got worse, and that's not the church's fault, because the church goes after things the way they are taught and know how to go after them. They go at it from a spiritual aspect versus a psychological. It's all spiritual, it's spiritual warfare. And a poltergeist, it's almost like, you have a fire. What kind of fire do you have? Well, you have electrical fire. Well, don't throw water on it. Why? Because it's going to make your fire worse. Mm-hmm. So if you go at it from a troubleshooting or don't know what it's causing it, you can make the activity worse. And that's what happened. But then I started getting the word poltergeist thrown at me so much, I'm like, let me just research what a poltergeist is and does. And another word that kept coming up in my research was parapsychologist. I'm like, what's a parapsychologist? Well, they study, the psychological aspect of the paranormal, telekinesis, think with your mind, move objects. I'm like, oh, they're Jedi Knights. Okay, or they study Jedi Knights.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well said.
Okay, they study the Force. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
And, a lot of researchers, the Steve Maras and the other ones in the world have written so much on poltergeist. So I just started emailing, sending my evidence about that we were having to them. And that started raising eyebrows, because this is what they do. And that's what caught the attention of the UK, because the UK has been dealing with poltergeist for eons amount of time compared to North America. So they seem to have a grounding, if you will, or understanding of how poltergeist works. And now we're dealing with the phenomena from a scientific aspect, and that made I don't say it made the activity lessen, but it made us feel less deadly.
And that makes complete sense. You get you throw parapsychology in the mix, and it's a fantastic field, because it does help explain a lot of things that we couldn't. There's so many ways that the mind plays tricks on us, and with moments like this, like the incidents you're in here, Keith, is people check their sanity. Am I going crazy? Am I seeing things? Am I hearing things? Is this some kind of weird act going on in my mind? Am I losing it? All that stuff comes into play, and you need outside help for something like this. So I'm glad you definitely contacted somebody, and we're going to talk more about this. We're going to get into some more detail here. We're throwing some Native Americans in the mix when we come back. This upside down man, what in the world is that? What role does it play in this haunting? So more with guest Keith Linder right here, Haunted Voices Radio, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Here's your latest news. We know you listen to other stations, but want to thank you for choosing ours. WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Let's talk.
This is a Fox News alert. Terror in New York City. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. We're learning more about the suspect in this afternoon's truck attack just blocks from the World Trade Center site. Fox's Steve Rappaport has more live.
Lisa, authorities identified the driver as 29-year-old Saifullo Saipov. He's from Uzbekistan and came to the U.S. in 2010. A police officer shot Saipov after he got out of the van with 2 guns, which turned out to be fake. NYPD Commissioner James O'Neill says it could have been much worse.
The dead and injured were just going about their days, heading home from work or from school, or enjoying the afternoon sun on bicycles. This is a tragedy of the greatest magnitude.
Despite the attack, tonight's Halloween parade downtown went on as scheduled, and Game 6 of the World Series opened with a moment of silence for the victims. Lisa?
Steve, a suspect remains holed up inside an elementary school in Riverside, California, after taking a teacher hostage.
The suspect's reportedly the parent of a child from that school. He barricaded himself inside a room at Castleview Elementary in Riverside, east of Los Angeles, with a hostage. Justin Grayson's a Riverside Unified District spokesman. He told our affiliate KTTV that all of the children have been evacuated.
All students have been evacuated from campus. They're safe in a location off of the campus, and right now staff from the school is checking and double-checking all attendance lists, making sure that we can account for every student and every staff member.
He says they've been taken to a nearby park, but they couldn't release the students until the situation was resolved.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Authorities say the suspect scuffled with another school employee who had requested he sign in before he barricaded himself in the room. Police and federal agents remain on the scene. House Republicans have delayed the release of a tax reform plan for a day as lawmakers try to work out differences involving the treatment of retirement savings accounts and state and local taxes. The bill was set to be unveiled tomorrow. Fox News, fair and balanced. Several elite schools in Maryland and a college in South Carolina apologizing for students and graduates over racist Halloween costumes.
A picture making the social media rounds is captioned, "You're going to jail tonight," and reportedly shows a recent graduate of Boys Latin School of Maryland wearing an orange jumpsuit with the name Freddie Gray written on the back. Freddie Gray died in 2015 from injuries suffered in police custody, sparking protest in Baltimore. The Gilman School and Roland Park Country School say it's their students wearing orange jumpsuits in another pic, captioned with a racist slur by a Mount St. Joseph High School student. The College of Charleston, meanwhile, confirming that one or more members of our campus community was involved in the pictures. The college president said they are investigating. Kirsten McNary, Fox News.
CBS says it's investigating a sexual harassment allegation against Jeremy Piven. Actress and reality star Ariane Bellamar posted on Twitter that the Emmy-winning Entourage star groped her on 2 occasions. New Jersey blaming the opioid crisis on the Connecticut-based makers of OxyContin.
New Jersey charges a direct link between the opioid addiction crisis and deceptive marketing by the makers of OxyContin, Purdue Pharma. The state charges Purdue deceived the medical community and the public into believing that pain was being undertreated and that opioids should be the first choice for chronic pain, saying the sheer number of marketing visits by Purdue's sales reps to doctors was staggering, and doctors were given quotas to write 500 to 700 prescriptions per month, despite research showing long-term use of opioids was not safe or effective for chronic pain. Purdue denies the charges. Therese Crowley, Fox News.
A judge on the hugely popular Great British Bake Off show forced to apologize after revealing the winner hours before the final episode was scheduled to air. The judge posted the winner's name on Twitter while traveling to Bhutan, which is 6 hours ahead of Great Britain, thinking the fans had already seen the show. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Mark your calendar for Saturday, November 18th. Join Emerald Coast Paranormal Concepts founders Tracy and Susan Todd at the Haunted Russ House. Upon your arrival, the team will provide 101 equipment training, cleansing tips, and a short meditation. And then you are released to roam the Haunted Russ House on your own. This event is for the serious investigator. No thrill seekers wanted here, and runs from 6 p.m. to midnight. Todd Bates and Ariel Grace of WGOG Digital Broadcasting will attend the event and not only conduct a live radio special, but also participate in the investigation. So drive, fly, or walk to the Russ House Saturday, November 18th, 6 p.m. to midnight for the investigation of a lifetime. You control the investigation, or do you? Tickets can be purchased through Emerald Coast Paranormal Concepts or by clicking the banner provided at WGOGDB.com.
Top of the hour. Happy Halloween, everybody. You're listening to Haunted Voices Radio Live. Of course, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Our guest this evening, Keith Linder. My goodness, the haunting that this man and his girlfriend endured is crazy, and it's getting crazier by the minute. We're running a 2-hour special here with Keith. And, of course, if you missed the first part of the show, I know a lot of you are just now tuning in. Don't worry. We've got you covered. Everything's being archived. You can find all of that there at hauntedvoices.com. Subscribe to us for free on iTunes, Google Play Music, and you can listen to us on iHeartRadio right there, the After Hours AM channel. We'll have that. That'll be updated tomorrow. But the actual show archive, we'll have that up about 20, 30 minutes after the program. If you missed it, I know a lot of you guys are messaging me, chomping at the bits here. I missed it. Don't worry. We knew that was coming. It is Halloween. But some of the things that we've covered, you can catch up on all those posts. The evidence was posted there in chat at hauntedvoices.com, WGOGDB.com. Go ahead and log in there, see some pictures, videos, log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. We definitely invite you in there. And we're going to be playing some actual EVP recordings that Keith captured and, the team around there. We're going to be airing those here in just a little while. But right now, we're kind of talking about the Native American side of this haunting, guys. And we're kind of getting into 3 different areas. So far, we have poltergeist activity, definitely have malevolent or demonic activity. And now, Keith, you have this upside down man, which is a Native American ritual. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so when the first upside down man symbol got drawn in my office, I couldn't make out what it was. The introverted crosses, yeah, upside down crosses, yeah, I get that. The 666, yeah, I get that. But this is new. An upside down stick figure implies a message. So a little bit of research pulled up the fact that, yeah, that's a Native American picto. It means a man has died or a man is about to die. Mm-hmm. And the Pacific Northwest, just like a lot of areas in the country, has a rich Native American history. It still does. A lot of the new development was former Native American land. So that sort of gave rise to the question, hey, is the house or this neighborhood built in and around a former Native American burial ground or residence or whatever? Let's start digging into the archives. Let's start researching that aspect, because keep in mind, an upside down man, out of all the things that's happened so far, this is sort of like a clue. Spirit purposely drew an upside down man. It must have had a million things it could have drawn on the wall. Why did it draw that? Yeah. So then you have to go after the analyzing of the substance, and the substance once again has its root in Native American, because it's mostly or primarily in North America. It was bison bone back in the early 1800s, late 1700s, that involved Native Americans, and the bison is pretty much charred bison bone that makes bone black. There's no other substance for bone black except burnt, incinerated cow bones or bison bones.
Mm-hmm, that makes sense.
So those two things, you got, okay, it's the land. Now what do we do? And then you started reaching out to the shamans. So we're bringing in shamans in. They're coming in, witnessing and seeing some of the activity. They're trying to talk to the spirits, trying to calm them down. We're trying to do appeasements. We buried baskets of fruit in both the front and backyard, tobacco, whiskey, tobacco leaves, salmon, to try to make a peace offering. We planted a tree in the backyard, an apple tree, to try to appease, to say, hey, we all we want to do is just live in the house. Can everybody just get along? And that didn't work. But at least, like I said, we're stuck at the ascertaining of there's some sort of Native American linkage there. And then some of the EVPs that Don Phillips captured, where he does ask the question. I mean, he asked a lot of questions, and they said yes to his questions about a Native American angle.
Wow. Okay, so at this point, though, you still didn't know for sure Were you wondering, is this just a poltergeist, an angry spirit or something, or is it demonic? Because 666 is usually a sign of demonic activity.
Yeah. I think it's, and this is going to sound kind of weird yet contradictory. There's both things happening at once. After talking to the previous tenant and the things that went on while they were there, the things she saw, her son saw, when at the very beginning of this segment or the other segment where you mentioned that, the things at the end of your bed. See, I've seen those things. She's seen them. The previous tenant's seen them. Her son has seen them. Mm-hmm. These things that you see out the corner of your eyes, these are shadowy figures. They're creepy crawlies, if I call them. They straddle the perimeter of the house, meaning the inside, the corners, the ceiling. They dangle. They love to shake the bed. They love to poke you in your rib cage, jab you. They love to hang around the doorway of your office or your room. They love the shadow corners of the house. That's demonic, okay? Objects that are throwing that cabinet doors. I mean, I've been in troubleshooting for a long time. I always look for the similarities, and there are poltergeist cases that are over 1,000 years old where cabinet doors have been opening, where dishes have been thrown, plants have been thrown, and these people are, don't know each other. They're on different continents, different countries, and the phenomena is the same.
Right.
And here we are in 2014 having similar phenomena as people had in 1800s, 1400s. Labeled poltergeist, because the only thing a poltergeist is by layman's term is a noisy ghost. In addition to that, angry ghost. I like to throw that in there because they're angry, but they're also noisy. But so I think it's two sides of the same coin. I'm also a firm believer that once you have one activity for a length of time, pretty soon you're going to have others arriving. It's like the whole infestation thing of, hey, you have one roach, pretty soon you're going to have 10,000. Or if you have one rat, guess what? You're going to have 200.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's like cockroaches.
Because we didn't get a handle on it. And if you don't get a handle on it, nip it in the bud. And keep in mind, this thing has probably got 5 years, if not more, of a head start. And look how much history it's got in the house. It's been there longer than any of us has. And now it's more tethered to the house than we are. And it's friends or whatever spirits that get conjured up because our emotions are running high. Keep in mind, there's the psychological aspect of it of not being teen or irritable. We're sleep deprived. We're angry. We're finger pointing. We're grouchy.
Yeah, it's what it's sounding like, Keith, is you're entering this stage of oppression. So you have these different stages, and this is what's blowing my mind. Is actually it seems like you have three hauntings in one, almost as if they're working as a team. You have a poltergeist, which we describes all of that. You have the demonic activity, which describes why it's laid dormant and gained strength. And now you have some kind of Native American with this symbol being through. Did you ever take a look or go to the clerk's office and maybe get the abstract of the house and look at the land, see if it's tied to the land? Is this on a burial ground? Did you ever investigate anything like that, or one of the teams?
Yeah, I spent a day at the Snohomish County Records Office. Regrettably, the Snohomish County didn't start keeping land, or they didn't start keeping records till 1973. So anything before 1973 is null and void. We did find a previous house that used to be exactly where that house is. There was a cabin where that house used to be. We're still trying to locate the occupants or the landowners of that cabin at the time. It was, I think, taken down in late 1945, 1947. The land sat vacant for a number of years before development started coming in. So that, once again, like I said, is interesting in the fact that of all this, I mean, there's over 2,000 houses in this unit. Here's the house that I'm living in, is the only one that had a house before. Okay, so there's that. It's impossible to trace the Native American aspect based on the county didn't start keeping records till early 1970. But talking to neighbors, talking to people who've been in the county for years and years and years, the whole Pacific Northwest, I mean, it's just Native American stuff left over all over the place. if people want to really learn about Bothell, Washington, that's where this house is. On the internet, on Wiki, it would tell you the enormous Native American uprisings for Bothell, Washington, when the settlers came in, the New World came in, and there was uprisings. There was a smallpox outbreak. Over 500 Native Americans died of smallpox in the city of Bothell. Jeez. And there were wars and factions with the tribes and the settlers. All this is included in the history of Seattle itself, Chief Seattle. So all these things give rise to spirits roaming around that say we're just going to give house occupants hell because that's what we do. But also the aspect of, keep in mind, 90% of poltergeist cases, like you said, there's an agent, like an adolescent child.
Right.
That 10% that, in my opinion, doesn't get reported much.
Bingo.
But is often forgot about and is less understood because it's less studied. Meaning that we don't really see it often. It's like you walk into an ER and you got a disease nobody's ever seen before, where they're going to poke and prod you and diagnose you incorrectly for millennia.
Oh, sure.
Odds are you're probably going to die.
Yeah.
You know, then when they do an autopsy, they're like, oh, he had the blue bonnet.
That's what it was.
Or whatever.
Yeah, please wait outside. Yeah.
You know. And we're at 10%. And as a house occupant, it really sucks to be in that 10% because nobody who comes to your house really knows how to troubleshoot it early on because everybody's familiar with the 9%. And when they say, oh, there's no agent here, you guys don't have kids, so it can't be a poltergeist, and they check that off. Well, let's not check that off so quickly. And that's, like I said, the parapsychologist aspect is where they came in and started ascertaining, well, there could be a 5% here. We might be looking at a residual haunting, a poltergeist haunting, and a demonic, because Steve Mera, Don Phillips, and Nikki and Carissa found all of that. I mean, they were chasing their tail because the phenomena will go down one path, and then you find another phenomena, and it yanks you over here.
That's, it's almost a trick. It really is, because, you have 3 different types of hauntings here. And what I find strange is with the Native American aspect, let's say the home is built on an old Indian burial ground, okay, and they're trying to protect it. They're a little cranky. But what is wicked, Keith, is the Native Americans protected and blessed that burial ground to protect it from anything malevolent or demonic. But yet it's in there. So it's almost like all 3 of these are working together.
Yeah, and that's what every team said, not looking at the notes of the other team. Keep in mind, Nikki and Carissa were minds blown because they're looking at the residual, the poltergeist, the semi-demonic. Nikki heard the heartbeats on my mattress. She heard the pulsating mattress.
Yeah, and I know Nikki. She doesn't mess around.
There's no equipment in the paranormal field that can capture that. How can you capture a breathing mattress and study that away from ground zero? And yeah, it just blew everybody's mind.
This is
Even
such
Steve Mera, who done this 35 years, even said, I've never seen a case like this.
This is such a unique case. And of course, we're going to talk more about this, folks, when we come back. We're just kind of scratching the surface here. And we come back, there's going to be some audio evidence here. We're going to air that for you. More with Keith Linder. Phil, I'm sure he's chomping at the bits here to get out there. We got to get into
I want to get into some of the attention this case got.
Oh, we're definitely going to get into that. We're going to get into that after we discuss the haunting itself and how everything played out, and we're going to kind of disclose some evidence here when we come back. Stay tuned. Haunted Voices Radio, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. We'll be right back.
Talk is our business, and business is good. WGOG Clearwater. Let's talk.
Nothing feels better than a good cleanse to wash away the day. If you think that refreshes you, then experience the ultimate cleanse with Soaps by Susan. Cleansing Spiritually LLC uses only pharmaceutical-grade essential oils, all-natural shea butter, coconut oils, and vitamin E, and tailored toward the ultimate cleanse. Susan uses a skin-safe fragrance with an aroma that brings a smile to your face and takes you to that happy place within. Each bar is handcrafted and custom to order, so it not only cleanses the soul, but also matches your room's decor. Cleansing Spiritually soap makes great gifts, or you can just indulge yourself for a spiritual cleansing you'll never forget. You want some now, don't you? We thought so. Contact Susan Todd to place your custom order at facebook.com/spiritually. Don't settle for clean. Get spiritually clean at facebook.com/spiritually.
Hi, this is John Kachuba, author of Ghost Hunters, and you're listening to Haunted Voices Radio, bringing paranormal to the world.
Target the right audience for your business by advertising on WGOG-DB. We can produce and voice your ad to air on all network programs, starting at $30 per month. Custom coverage is also available by contacting us on the website. Don't wait a second longer. Secure your ad spot today and get noticed. Visit WGOGDB.com for details. WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Let's talk. Haunted, a psychic story by author and radio host Ariel Grace. This is not your average book of hauntings. Haunted, a psychic story is written from a psychic perspective and contains true stories and some handy tips. Written in 3 parts, Haunted, a Psychic Story contains chilling adventures, advice from the archangels, and helpful tips used by Ariel Grace to clear haunted homes around the globe. Haunted, a Psychic Story is available on Amazon, or you can download straight to your Kindle. Haunted, a Psychic Story by Ariel Grace. Get your copy today. You're locked into WGOG-DB. Like what you hear? Then let's talk about your own program on WGOG Digital Broadcasting. No hidden cost or red tape. We are a station to be reckoned with and provide you with the best service possible. Come on, you know you're interested. So contact us today to secure your slot before it's too late. Visit WGOGDB.com and click on Contact Us. We'll take it from there.
23 minutes past the hour. Happy Halloween, everybody. Those of you just trickling in here, my goodness, have you missed an amazing program so far? Chilling, to say the least. This is getting really eerie. One of the most unique cases that I've ever heard of. I know you probably may have had other ones that you've heard of, but this is definitely one of the most unique that I've heard of. It's almost like 3 separate hauntings in one. This is an amazing discussion, so be a part of it. Get into chat, hauntedvoices.com, WGOGDB.com, either one of those areas. Logging through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. We're posting photos in there and some videos of this evidence, this case, so definitely follow along in there. And, of course, we're going to play some audio evidence for you here, this segment. But right now we're discussing all the aspects of it. We've gotten into the Native American aspect of it now. And what the researchers have found, there's been some really well-known researchers that have gone in there, and some have found some things that, well, you may want to question. Everybody has their opinion. Everybody's entitled to that. But I know Phil is chomping at the bits, and we're just going to get into this real quick, because Phil has been waiting patiently to attack this question here for Keith. Welcome back, guys. And Phil, go ahead with this question. I know you've been itching to ask it.
Well, I know that the house and everything started to get a lot of attention. You had a local news station come and do a story on you. How did Ghost Adventures get involved in this?
Seattle Como caught wind of the story because we were trying to get the attention of a experienced team, and they contacted me and Tina, And when she came to the house to interview me, I don't know if you've seen the interview, but she heard the loud banging while there, her and her cameraman. And upon leaving, she said that she is a good friend of Dave Schrader, and that she wanted to pass my info to Dave Schrader. The next day, Dave called me, and we talked about 15 minutes. He asked me a few questions, and he said that he has connections with Ghost Adventures, and he would like to get the guys in there to research the house and maybe solve our problem for us. So, yeah, that's how they caught wind of it, was through Como local news in Seattle.
Oh, okay. Dave Schrader. All right. Yeah, I think he does some research for them sometimes and things like that.
Yeah, he was the research for them. Yeah, so he's that.
Yeah. Okay, so they came out to your house, and I'm just curious. Like I said, I saw the show, and I was a little unhappy with the way they did it. It just seemed to me like, I'll say it. It just seemed to me like from the very beginning, they were thinking fraud.
Yeah, I mean, at that time, we had a lot of teams working with us locally, and we're used to people asking questions. A lot of teams give us a Word document, 3 or 4 pages that we fill out. So we're familiar with the process of the screening. Dave's screening was like 15 minutes, but when they arrived, it was kind of weird because me and Tina were not expecting to be put on the defensive. Granted, I know you have questions to ask us, but it was almost it felt like we're here, but we're here for other purposes, in the sense of, yeah, if there's activity, we'd love to get it, but we're not so much believing everything you say. And I can kind of get that. You want to sort of stay in the middle ground, but keep in mind, we've had so much activity. A friend of yours, a friend of Dave Schrader, just told you she was here and heard a loud bang. I didn't know Elisa Jaffe until she came into the house and interviewed me. She had total access to the house. She told Dave Schrader she felt uneasy about the house and heard the loud bang. I thought they would be a little bit more receptive and nicer, in the sense of, hey, you guys have been going through some hell, da-da-da-da-da. These things are hard to investigate. We're only here for a short period of time. We might not get anything while we're here, but we're all in it together. There was none of that. And we were expecting that because we're used to people coming and going, meaning those who get data, the thrill seekers, and we never hear from them again. But, when you tell me you're here to find the truth and you're going to ascertain, like I said earlier, I thought they were going to take pieces of the door, the wall analysis. I said, take this, take that, take the paint, take the markings, take the burnt Bible, analyze it elsewhere, and tell your audience, hey, this Bible was not burnt by man. There's no accelerant here. We think this guy's on the up and up. There was none of that. It was more of, nothing's real until we say it's real. And we're Tina and I we're 2 years into it. We know it's real. We don't need for you to vouch our claims. I never call a paranormal team to vouch me and Tina's claim. There's no vouching an armoire flying across the room.
Good for you.
Okay.
Good for you.
And they would come in there like, it's not real until we say it's real. And I told Tina this, and I told Steve and Dawn this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm pretty sure, I can never prove this, but I think the spirits purposely sat on their hands because the team comes in too proud. If you come in too proud, I'm going to just use the word arrogant, or too cavalier. That's a nicer word, too cavalier.
Okay, good. Well said.
And if you think me and Tina are somewhat hoaxing it, the spirits are going to sit on their hands. And keep in mind, we had activity, Tina and I, when they put us in the hotel. We never got a phone call. We never got followed or anybody monitoring us at the hotel, because the activity followed us from the house to the hotel that we were staying in while they conducted their 5-hour, 6-hour lockdown. And one of the things I told Zach before he arrived at the house was, I said, the majority of the activity happens in the daytime, not at night. I mean, a door will slam while we're sleeping, but I think you guys are, this lockdown, I understand you do lockdowns, but you blocked out all the windows anyway. It looks like midnight in here anyway. Why don't you just do your lockdown during the daytime? And nobody listened to me because I'm the house occupant. What do I know, right?
Sure, right.
And I just live it and see it. I just know what time the stuff starts happening, but my voice is not important. But so then they did the lockdown, and then they just go cold air because we didn't hear from them for 3 months.
Oh my goodness.
We didn't hear nothing until the episode aired. When the world saw the episode air, that's when we saw it.
That's the first time you saw it, and that is pardon me, but that is pathetic. That is awful. And this is something.
I didn't even ask them what they found. I said, hey, did you guys find anything? Oh, well, hey, we got some good shots, got some good B-roll, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. And Zach's hammering away, and and we're like waiting for answers. Keep in mind, we're still living this. Just because the activity didn't happen while you were there, doesn't mean the activity stopped. And no, hey, how you guys doing? Da 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 da. I mean, I kept sending him video and photos and da 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 da. But it was a one-way communication, and it wasn't a fact of being bitter. It was just a fact of I thought we was presenting this as a relationship of team versus house occupant, and no. And then when it aired, and the way they portrayed Tina as sort of didn't say it, but sort of suggested it. Oh, Tina's acting kind of weird. It must be her.
Yeah.
And and then they left their audience believing that if you don't find activity, that means there's no such thing as activity. And I know that's not. I mean, how many doctors and people who do things in their life with how far they would get if they just say, oh, I couldn't find the thing, so it doesn't exist. Yeah. What is personality?
Well, the thing is, too, with all these paranormal shows, not just Ghost Adventures, all of them, I take them with a grain of salt. Todd knows, too. He's investigated over the years enough to know that you just don't go in and get all this evidence every time you investigate a place like what happens on these TV shows. But I was surprised with Ghost Adventures because normally they come in to a place and they act like they believe there is a haunting there. Yeah. It seems like with you, they came in automatically thinking, I don't believe this.
Yeah, it was like it was too good to be true, or ain't no way this activity could be this much and this much happening. Number one, you guys want to be alive. Number two, that just doesn't happen. But, there's a first time for everything. You can't come in too cavalier. And you should always be expecting to learn something new on each case because each case is different. You can't come in bringing your previous case, your previous experience. And
the other thing is you mentioned, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you mentioned with your girlfriend, that scene where she and Zach almost bumped into each other. And he backed off. Well, you were in the dark. I mean, people could see it on TV because they're using the infrared cameras. But you're walking around in the dark, you can barely see each other. And you almost bumped into each other. And he backed off and got this weird look. And the next thing is like he's thinking, there's something weird about her. I mean, that whole show, it wasn't like Ghost Adventures usually is.
Well, let's get something straight here. I mean, what it is, and I'm speaking from experience here, and normally I don't throw this out there, but I'm going to use this as an example. This is a production crew, okay? I mean, I've been there, done that with the Discovery Channel. They brought a production crew in there. They coach you. They say, look, act shocked when you say this. Do this when you do this. It's production. It's made to keep you people in the seats and buying advertising that you watch on television. They want you to sit there and not get up, so they have to keep you entertained. Now, with this, I mean, all of us here listening, I'm sure, a lot of experienced paranormal researchers out there. Keith, you've lived this. Phil, we've been there, done that. And this is something that we know for a fact that this is just production hype. And what you're seeing, because Keith, you told them, you told them exactly, look, it does this, it did this, and they didn't adhere to any of that, and they go ahead and do the production at night when it's convenient for them. So that tells me they don't care. They just want footage. So this is something that they didn't investigate it. They just showed up. So this is something that they definitely took lightly. And I mean, I wish I could apologize for them, but I can't. But the community isn't like that in general. You know that. You've dealt with a lot of researchers, parapsychologists, also. But with this haunting, it's such a mixture. And that's what makes this such a rare case. And that's why I wanted to extend this 2 hours, Keith, is because this is something I've never experienced. And I know you listening, you haven't experienced either. This is wicked. You have almost 3 hauntings in one. And we actually have some evidence here, and I want to get to this before we run out of time, because time is flying by here. It's Halloween. I don't know, something weird's going on. But we have some captures here, Keith, and I want to play a few of these. And I want you to kind of introduce them a little bit and kind of explain when these happened and what happened. I got a few of them lined up here, ready for the audience to hear. And one of them's entitled, simply enough, Keith.
Yeah. So that one, I mean, imagine you're sleeping, taking a nap or sleeping, and this happens a lot. And you just hear the word Keith whispers in your ear. Or you pour in your glass of milk and you hear Keith just out the blue. Or you're changing the TV with your remote control. Sometimes it's a female voice. Sometimes it's a male voice. Sometimes it's back to back. And that happened in the old house a lot. And one day after, I just start holding up voice recorders and video of me ironing or me taking a shower or brushing my teeth. And then I will review the footage and capture a few Keiths in there. So, yeah, that's what that was about.
Okay, we're going to play this real quick for the audience. You guys let us know what you think. We're going to play this. It's going to be a little louder than what you normally hear. That way, you guys are able to hear the actual capture. Man. Now, these are things... Did you hear any of these with a naked ear, Keith, at all?
I've heard some, a lot with the naked ear. Some I haven't, and then later went back to review the audio and capture the Keith. Yes, but yeah, I've heard plenty of Keiths with the naked ear. I've heard other things too. Because Steve and Don have, yeah.
You've got a couple of them here, and it's like they're trying to get your attention. They're trying to, either scare you, warn you something. It could be another spirit in the home trying to warn you of something, trying to get your attention. This is just wicked. And here's another one here. It's also Keith. Let's see what this one's about. Eek.
Yeah, I heard that one.
Now, that's what, because, a demonic entity, one of these that are captured, normally it's not going to be, they're not going to use the English language. Okay, let's say that. A poltergeist, normally you don't capture recordings from one of them. So this has to be something else inside. It's just a really wicked case here, Keith. My goodness, I'm surprised that you even have your sanity after all this.
Yeah, like I said, the male voices, the female voices saying Keith, having your initials written on the wall, die KL. It speaks to the level of observations, intelligence. They know my name. They probably heard it 10 million times by living in the house. But, yeah, you hear that. And, yeah, you catch yourself like, did that just happen? Am I going insane? Am I going crazy? And the teams come in and they pick it up on their equipment. So yeah, that's weird.
And we've got a question here from chat. I want to get this addressed. This is a great question for you, Keith. Elvis is asking, why does everyone only ghost hunt at night, at least on TV? Oh, classic, yeah. Go ahead and take that one, Keith.
Yeah, exactly. And Steve Merritt, Parapsychologist, when he came to the house, I had a long conversation with him, and once again, they said that's a misnomer of why you try to investigate at night, thinking just because it's night, that's when the house is most active. Steve and Dawn got 90% of their evidence during the day. Mm-hmm. Granted, they lived in the house for 2 weeks, but they got 90% of it. I'm talking about teleportation, as-port objects going through a table, movement, camera movement. They got all that stuff during the daytime. And it was only at night when they were just really trying to do, just think out loud and do experiments they never did before. But, yeah, and I think Hollywood and TV is at fault because you're right. Every time you see it on TV, it's at night. It's with the infrared cameras. These spirits in our house told Steve and Dawn, or the voices that we captured, said, we don't like infrared cameras. I mean, these are disembodied voices saying we don't like infrared cameras.
We don't like it.
It's clear, I guess, Class A EVP is what they got saying that.
And here's a catch-all for that. Here's a catch-all. I mean, Phil and I, we are old school, okay? And someone years ago, very sweet and dear to me, taught me that the main reason researchers go out and do investigations at night is because it's simply quieter. It's not because it's more active.
Yeah.
It's because it's quieter, and it may be easier to catch something on film. But this activity can happen anytime, during the day, at night. It doesn't matter. It's always around us. It's always going on, and that's just
that's what I just wrote. Yeah, that's what I just wrote in the chat room, that at nighttime it's quieter, so you don't have cars and lawnmowers and everything, so trying to capture EVP, you got a better chance. And a simple fact of the matter is, when I was working with the paranormal groups, most of us worked during the day. So it was easier for us to go out in the evening.
Exactly.
I also wrote 2 of the best EVP I ever captured were during the day. One was like 8:30 in the morning. The other one was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
And these are just common things that people mistake. They mistake it. It does add a spook factor if you're out there. If you're a ghost hunter, if you're a thrill seeker, it's a spook factor to go hopping around tombstones, for crying out loud. Grow up and learn something here, folks. But
that's the thing. Elvis wrote, at least, why do they always do it at night, at least on TV?
Right.
Because it's creepier.
It's a creep
in the
factor.
Dark.
Yeah.
Oh, that's TV.
Exactly.
And we've got a question here for you, Keith, from chat. This is from Boris, listening to you all the way from Germany this evening. Definitely give a shout out to Boris there from chat. And his question is, when will your book be available?
Tentative date is March, April for the book. And it talks about the 4-year or 5-year ordeal in the house. So, March or April of next year.
Nice. And, there's we're going to get all that information. Of course, we're going to let Keith give a lot of information here in just a few minutes. The time is just flying by here with this haunting. So let's kind of, we played some of the captures. We've shown the evidence there in the chat room. If you guys still want to get in there with your final questions, just go to either hauntedvoices.com or wgogdb.com. Log in there. It's real simple. And you can post your question. You can scroll up. You can see some of the evidence there that we posted in there. But this haunting, Keith, it's a wicked thing you endured. And you've had both the good and bad from researchers, publicity, all of that. So let's get down to the house itself, and I want to touch on this when we come back, but, you lived there for several years. When did you finally say, I'm done, I'm ready to get out, and did it follow you?
Yeah.
These are some of the things that I'm curious about, because, and I know the audience is, I know that you listening, you've heard of instances where the actual haunting followed you. I know people that's happened to. I'm sure you do as well. And we're going to touch on that when we come back here for the final segment here, Haunted Voices Radio. My goodness, Halloween night, it's flown by. And boy, do we lay down the chill factor. More of that coming up here, Haunted Voices Radio Live, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. We'll be right back.
Others say it. We prove it. WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Let's talk. There are thousands of health and beauty products on the market these days, but how many can you say are truly natural? The name says it all. And Naturally by Darla is here to humbly serve, guide, and help to heal all individuals seeking a more natural way of living. NaturallyByDarla.com provides a wide variety of products and services like essential oils, soaps, balms and salves, powerful mist, and ancient healing techniques. Curious yet? We thought so, and invite you to visit our website, naturallybydarla.com, or call 847-334-1580. That's 847-334-1580. naturallybydarla.com. Humbly serving for over 10 years. Naturally.
When a child is abducted, every second counts. That's why this station uses the Internet Radio Amber Alert System, helping to keep your children safe. A free service of the Internet broadcasting community and this station.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has delivered a one-of-a-kind reading experience, covering everything from psychics, UFOs, paranormal investigations, and more. For more information, visit fatemag.com or call 1-800-728-2730. That's 1-800-728-2730. Fate magazine. True reports of the strange and unknown.
Minutes past the hour. My goodness, happy Halloween, folks. The Halloween special here on Haunted Voices Radio Live, WGOG-DB. Wow, what an amazing show. And, you know, next week we're going to be talking some ghostly stuff as well. And what we're going to do second hour next week, something a little bit different. Phil and I are going to be taking your questions next week. If you have any questions, paranormal related, photography, videography, EVP, all of the above, we'll take those questions, we'll address them. Yeah, there you go, Phil. Any questions you have there, you know, even little things about Phil and I, how you got started, where'd you guys meet, anything like that, we'll answer that. That'll be second hour next week, same time, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, there at hauntedvoices.com or WGOG-DB.
No questions about that night in Las Vegas.
No, that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, Phil.
That's right.
I'm sorry you woke up like that. I didn't think it was going to fit, honestly. I didn't know, Phil. I apologize. But with this, we are talking with Keith Linder. My goodness, we had amazing information come out about this case. This is the most wicked case that I've ever come across. 3 hauntings in one, basically. You've got your poltergeist. You've got some demonic type activity. You've got some Native Americans involved. You know, the parapsychology is in here. Is it the stress that Keith and his girlfriend are going through that are causing the poltergeist activity? Is the house buried on some kind of burial ground? Why are the demons upset with Keith? This is so many questions out there, and there's been so many teams investigated, Keith. And like we were talking about briefly on break, they work together. And that's what I loved about this investigation, is that they did work together. They collaborated. They shared some evidence. You don't find that in this community anymore. That went out. I mean, Phil and I are old school. We still do it. But other people, they want to hold it because they want that next great, best television show that they can play this clip and it gets run down and beat up to where nobody believes it anymore. It's people, exactly. People are getting into this for the wrong reason. And it's sad, but it's on the wayside. It is cleaning up. It is getting better. But your case, it's still open, right?
Yeah, the case is officially still open. Keep in mind, the scientific establishment of parapsychology, the one that Steve Mayer belongs to, is still compiling a report. I'm waiting for their final analysis. The guys left with over 500 EVPs when they stayed here. So they're still combing through the 500 EVPs. 85% of those are Class A. You can hear them like I'm talking right now. Mm-hmm. Nikki and Carissa, we still find evidence when combing through the audio and video. And that's why I posted or created a website, if you will, as well as a YouTube channel to share the info. People can take it, you know, slice it up, flip it up, analyze it. By all means, tell me what it isn't, but you might find it hard because it's very interesting what's being posted. I don't know what it is. I don't pretend to know. I just think it's interesting, and I think it's probably going to survive me and whoever because it's going to be looked at for here and throughout.
I like how you said that. Tell me what it isn't. That's a great way of putting it. And we do have looks like a final question from chat. I want to get this in before we get into the case wrap up here. Elvis is asking, Keith, have Keith or his wife, girlfriend, talked to a medium about this?
Yes, several mediums, and several mediums have been to the house. Yeah, we've talked to several mediums, and those that stayed in the house did communicate and talk to some of the spirits, mainly some female, and I say female only because the voice coming back through the voice recorder is female. So yes, several of those, be it local or some from the East Coast. That would be Carissa and others. Don Phillips is also a channel of spirits, if you will, and his method for EVP capture is spot on. He was the one who caught a majority of the EVPs.
Okay. All right. This is so. Let's get into some final things here about the house. First of all, when was enough, and when did you move, Phil or Keith? Sorry.
I moved 4 years, almost 4 years to the day. I moved May 8th, 2016. And it was really after Steve and Dawn and Nick and Carissa went public with their findings, because keep in mind, we were always destined to move almost immediately after Ghost Adventures left. But when the TV show aired, we would have been leaving looking as hoaxsters or fraudsters or over-exaggerators. So that made me double down and get 2 more teams. And by that, Steve and them came and others came. And it was only then after Nick and Carissa investigated the house for 8 months. That was before they even arrived at the house, and stayed 3 weeks or 3.5 weeks. And then Steve and Dawn stayed 2 weeks. And once they went public and announced their findings and bought legitimacy and substantiated my claims, they left of April of 2016. I moved out May 8th, and that was enough. That was 4 years, and it was time to go, I guess, on a high note. But you're always worried, is the activity going to follow you? Mm-hmm. That was once a question. And there's a video on my channel called Move Out Day. Individuals can go there and look at that video, because there are over 65 Keith EVPs. I put 3 voice recorders throughout the house while the movers moved me out, and listened to the recordings later, and we were able to capture 65 EVPs. They're just saying Keith over and over while people are hauling out boxes and couches and love seats, and it's very eerie. It's on my YouTube channel, and I moved out May 8th of 2016.
Okay, I'm going to do something here that Todd and I try not to do. I'm going to ask you a question you've probably been asked 100 times before. You were renting the house.
Yeah.
With all this going on, as soon as that first year was up and your lease was up, why did you renew it? Why didn't you just say, I'm out of here?
The paint had dried right when the activity subsided, and we thought we had dodged a bullet, if you will. And right when, we had really renewed the lease within months of the activity returning. And it was kind of weird, because I've never had this done before, is the landlord hit me up 4 or 5 months before the lease was even close to being extended, mm-hmm. and said, hey, do you want to renew? Well, that time the activity was gone, and we really thought we got cheated out of the first year because we had activity.
I want a refund.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, we never got what we wanted to get out of a house. I mean, you buy a house for memories, right? But we leave now, all we got is flying furniture. And then that whole year was quiet. And then that push. And even then, instead of just vacating it and folding tent, and me and Tina had a long conversation on the couch, and I told her, I'm not going to be run out of my own house. I mean, if I had kids or pets or animals or young people or younglings, then yeah, I have to think about them. But this is my first house. It was a rental. I got a great job promotion. I'm an IT. I'm an IT project manager. And it just felt good that I acquired a house, but never did I think it would be this active. And you don't know what the end looks like. You just know, I don't want to be run out of my own house.
And I can sum that up, Keith. I mean, it's simple. It's a guy thing, really. You don't want to be run out. And plus, being in the IT profession, which you guys are really detailed, methodical problem solvers in that field, you definitely probably had something in the back of your mind saying, I wonder why this is happening. I want to see more, yet I don't. You can't just up and leave. It's almost like having an unanswered question. Some of that probably.
Yeah, exactly. That would haunt me, and it's going to sound weird. That would haunt me more than all these hauntings combined, that unanswered question.
And that is true. It's almost like a challenge sometimes, because we did that with homes we investigated, where it's like, I got to go back because I got to find out what's going on here.
Yeah.
It's like a challenge, and you can't walk away from it.
And that's exactly what it is. Leaving something, it would just be an empty void. And that'd be a what if in the back of your mind to this day. So you endured it. And my goodness, I commend you for it, because most people would not have stayed in a situation like that. But you didn't want to leave your home. It was your home. This is your safe haven, your castle. You know, something's coming in there that you don't want. Yeah, maybe it's been there before you and the previous owners had issues with it. But maybe you were going to be the one to figure out why this haunting existed and maybe find a way to, extinguish the thing. It's just, it's awful.
Leaving just seemed too easy, if that makes sense. Yeah. It just seems too knee-jerk for me.
It's just it's not your personality. And that makes complete sense to me now. And, having this, we just have a couple minutes. What I want you to do is definitely get out some information here, because we got some people here that definitely want to talk to you. They want to see some more evidence. They want to hear more about the case. Anything you have coming up here, Keith? Anything you want to share with the audience? The mic's yours.
Yeah, so for more information about this case, number one, YouTube is where a lot of the video evidence is. You just have to type Keith.L, and you'll find me. I'm not going to give the long address because it's pretty long, but Keith L. And also just go to demonsinseattle.com. That's where a majority of the evidence that the other teams found. That page is currently being built and being updated with new evidence. These are the reports that Steve, Don, and others have compiled. So most of this stuff is not from me. You can see their analysis, their narrative, their final analysis, or to be determined analysis is what I call it. But it's a lot of information there. It's forever growing. And also, when I get updates, I put it on YouTube and I put it on the Demons in Seattle website. But if you just Google Keith London, you're going to find the YouTube channel. And like I said, Demons in Seattle, nospaces.com is where the timeline of events, there's photos, there's videos, all of it's there, the report, the wall analysis, the samples, the fire department report, and all that stuff is there.
Wow. Thank you so much, too, Keith, for
quick. Yesterday, all I did was type your name in a search, and I came up with all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, that's the IT side of me. Of this is going to survive, because once it's on the internet and that evidence is there, it gets multiplied by 10,000 every day, and it's going to never go anywhere. So yeah, that's why I'm all about putting out there on the internet unfiltered. Some of my videos on YouTube are 4 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, because I don't believe in editing. I just want people to watch and understand how things build up. You're going to see some videos where we're just sitting down watching TV, 4 hours into it, a loud bang. So I want you to sort of get the experience that we had when we were sitting down watching TV, not knowing what's about to happen, because I don't tell you when it's going to happen.
I like that.
But it's gonna come abruptly, and it's unpredictable, and that's how we lived it. So if you watch those videos, people will get an understanding of that.
That means it's not tainted. And Keith, thank you so much for taking time, your Halloween night here, spending in here with us. We cannot thank you enough. We're definitely going to be back in touch with you and get you on here again for another update, see what's going on out there. Thank you so much, Keith.
Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you. It was awesome.
Show.
Wow. Keith Linder, everybody. And Halloween is come to an end for Haunted Voices Radio, Phil. But don't worry. I got to give you some updates. We've got some programming coming up here. Holy cow, does WGOG DB have some good stuff here for you. Live tomorrow night, Kat Hobson hosts Paranormal Experience Radio. You can hear that live right here, WGOGDB.com. And Sunday nights, you've got a Gang of Girls Radio with Ariel Grace, a.k.a. The Hottie. That's what I call her because, well, I sleep with her every night. Now, you can tune into that Sunday nights, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. And Mondays, we have got an amazing show, Surviving Evidence with Chris DeCesare and Phil Casey. That airs 8 Eastern, 7 Central. And right before us, those of you folks that heard, John Tobin is back with Keeping the Spirits Alive, 7 Eastern, 6 Central. All of that right here on WGOG DB. We've got more programming in production. And a surprise I'm going to leave you guys with. Fate Magazine Radio comes to WGOG Digital Broadcasting. That's coming November 12th, Fate Magazine Radio, right here, WGOG DB. Next week, we've got more ghostly stuff for you and questions for Phil and I there the second hour. We're going to have some fun. So happy Halloween to you, Phil.
Happy Halloween to you. Now you can take that pumpkin head off.
Yeah, I'll can head off. All you folks, nestle down after tonight's show, and hopefully you don't have any creepy dreams. We'll see you next week. More Haunted Voices Radio, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, hauntedvoices.com or WGOGDB.com. Have a good night, folks.
Good night, everybody.